Hi there, this is the week 12 video for the course. So previously what we've looked at in the course is the idea of sensitivity and specificity. In other words, we've looked at dichotomous tests where we're trying to figure out what's actually going on in a patient's body. And so either the patient has a condition or they don't have a condition. And we've looked at the different ways we can look at that data and different things that we can learn from it. Well, we're going to switch gears a little bit here. Instead of wondering whether or not a patient has a condition, we're going to go back to that idea of parameters and statistics that we looked at back in Module 2. So remember in Module 2, we built confidence intervals, and the idea of a confidence interval was we were trying to estimate the value of a parameter. Well, what we're going to do from here on until the end of the course is instead of estimating the value of a parameter, we're going to try to split where the parameter can live into two different pieces and try to figure out which one of those pieces the parameter is in. So let me give an example to kind of illustrate why we would want to do this. So since it's an election year, let's talk about someone running for elected office. And we'll say that in order to win or in order to get into office, this person has to get more than 50% of the vote. So notice here the percentage would be, or pardon me, the parameter would be the percentage of the population that are going to vote for this particular person. So in this case, we need to figure out, is that percentage of people that are going to vote for this person, is that percentage greater than 50% or is it less than 50%? We know it has to be in one of those two places. So notice what I've done here is I've split where that parameter can live into two different places. Now, we know as long as that percentage is anywhere greater than 50%, the person will win. So it doesn't matter if it's 55, 65, 75, 85, or even 95 for that matter. It just matters that it's more than 50%. So that's what's different from the confidence interval. So for a confidence interval, we actually tried to estimate, is it 75 or is it 80? Whereas here, we're just trying to show, is it greater than 50%? In other words, will the majority vote for this person? And so that's what we're going to start looking at today, is this idea of what we call hypothesis testing. And that's what hypothesis testing essentially does, is it splits up where the parameter can live into two different pieces. And then we're going to use the statistic as evidence to try to prove where the parameter actually is located. When you go through the videos for today, you are going to be given a lot of new vocabulary words today. So today is going to be very vocabulary heavy. So I really want to recommend that as you go along and watch the videos, keep a list of the new vocabulary words. And every time that you encounter one of them on one of the worksheets, go back and reread the definition to yourself until you get used to all of the new language. Because one of the hardest parts about understanding what's happening in a hypothesis test is all of the new language that you're going to be confronted with. Now, the other thing that I want to talk about today is there is no bonus points for this week, but I am offering an optional Beyond the Classroom. So what this Beyond the Classroom will do is if you got a poor grade on either of the first two Beyond the Classrooms, this Beyond the Classroom will entirely replace one of those grades. Now, if you scored high on either of those two, or pardon me, on both of the last two Beyond the Classrooms, then I probably would not complete this assignment. Now, again, this assignment is 100% optional. You do not have to complete it. It is only for your benefit to help you replace a grade. This Beyond the Classroom is a little bit harder than the other one. Since this is the optional one and the one that you don't have to complete, it is a little bit harder. It's going to be somewhat similar to the Beyond the Numbers 3.7. So if you were uncomfortable with the calculations from week 10 and week 11, then I would really recommend before you start the optional Beyond the Classroom is go back and look at those assignments. The week 10 ones are already graded, and I'll grade the week 11 ones as fast as I can. Once those are graded, go back and look at what you missed, understand what you missed before you go to try to complete this assignment. Now again, since this is 100% optional, I will not be providing as much assistance as I normally would on an assignment. So normally when you go to complete a Beyond the Classroom, I'll look at it beforehand and I'll tell you if something's wrong, or I'll help guide you in the calculations. I won't be doing that in this case because again, it's optional. The only questions I will answer for this assignment will be general questions. So maybe if you don't understand some of the directions or you don't understand what it's asking you, in that case, I'm more than happy, to answer those questions. Now, as usual, for the rest of the material, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. I'm happy to hold office hours, and I will talk to you all next week.